Now we are going on to the second commander deck when it comes to Modern Horizons 3. This one is going to be a very weird one. We haven't seen a commander that does this type of stuff, and there's a lot to unfold when it comes to this deck, but it is a very interesting deck to me just flying through it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this video to see and help you out if you want to buy this deck or not. But before I go any further, a word from our sexy sponsors. The sponsor of this video is me. I have started an Etsy page where I'm going to try and be selling clothes that I've designed, thought would be funny, thought would be cool, thought would be amazing on people's bodies. So I literally spent maybe a month or two looking at different resources and stuff to come up with the nicest clothes I could possibly find, with the coolest designs that I have done myself, with stuff like playmats, hoodies, t-shirts. I'm going to try and do phone cases. They're harder than I thought, but I do think that it is a really good thing to actually put into. So if you would like to help me out or help the channel out, please go onto my Etsy. It will be linked down below, and you'll be able to find very nice clothing and also be supporting the channel. So links down below, and also if there's any other designs, I will be putting on any of my social media, so please follow me there as well. It would not be a video where I go through an entire commander deck without talking about the commander itself. So when it comes to this deck, the commander is Omo, Queen of Vesuva. For 2 and a hybrid mana of a green and blue, you got a legendary creature, Shapeshifting Noble, that is a mythic. Whenever Omo, Queen of Vesuva enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to 1 target land and up to 1 target creature. Each land with an everything counter on it is an every land type in addition to its other types. Each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type and is a 1/5. This as a commander is a very weird and unique one. For 3 mana you get a 1/5, which is a very good blocker, but when it ETBs or attacks, which again attacking will not be a thing you would really do with this commander, you get a choice of a land and a creature to become an everything. This is really good for lands that like matter for, like, we'll say gates or deserts, that matter for other cards that do the same. And then creature types, if there's one where it's like all humans get +1/+1, you turning all your creatures into humans is really good. This is a very weird and strange card, and you can do really weird and unique things with it. For example, you could throw random creatures where it says one of those cards that sacrifice a goblin. Now it's a goblin, you can sack it. It's very weird and a very unique commander overall. When it comes to this commander, I am very shocked, but I really do like it, and I can see a lot of cool things that you can do with it. So I would love to hear what crazy things you would do with this commander. But you can't talk about the commander without talking about the sub-commander. When it comes to this deck, the sub-commander is Jyroti Mong Agent. For 2 green and a blue, you get a legendary creature, Elemental, that is a mythic. When Jyroti Mong Agent enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green forest druid land creature token for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. At the beginning of each combat, land creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Jorah's power, and he is a 2/4. When it comes to this, I prefer in the 99 than the commander. You want something that is a Simic or more color commander that is really cheap, has a really good ETB effect or a death trigger, and you want to play that and ramp as fast as possible, playing it as many times as you possibly can, then playing this. This then will give you a large amount of mana and a large amount of creatures. Plus then throwing a good amount of ramp. Just ramp this card, and then you're able to attack with a wide range of land creatures. Plus, it's pretty much like, the way I see it is this is kind of a long variation of Avenger of Zendikar and the Huff combined together. So now let's go through the context of the deck, starting with the Planeswalkers. In this deck there's a total of 2 Planeswalkers, and they are Nissa, Steward of Elementals, and Vivien Reid. Again, as a Planeswalker collector, I like that they're adding more than 1 in. However, again, I have both of these, so I'm not really excited, but they are really good for this deck. Now we're going on to the creatures of this deck. When it comes to this, I don't think there would be many creatures, and I was correct. There is a total of 24 in total. I say majority of them is going to be like lands, or it's going to be more of an instant or sorcery deck, in my personal opinion. But you get creature cards such like Magnus of the Cablara, Hydroid Crisis, Wanderscape Sage, Druid of the Elysian Grove, Rampant Frogatua, Ramunap Excavator, Sage of the Maze, Scoot Swarm, Uro Titan of Natural Wrath, Hydra Broodmage, Rampaging Behemoth, Ulvahald Hydra, Avenger of Zendikar, Terrastodon, Apex Devastator. Again, a load of good cards, and some of these are very not obvious, but kind of obvious at the same time. Like the Avenger of Zendikar was one of them cards that second I seen the Commander and Sub-Commander, I went, yeah, I like that. Mainly the reason I thought Avenger of Zendikar for the Commander is you then get to turn into all creature types, or you get to turn other things into all creature types. So if you play, we'll say, a Ghalta, Ghalta's now technically a plant, so gets +1/+0. And then the rest are just really good kind of legendary or rare creatures. Now we are going on to the spells of this deck. There is 18 in total, and you get spells just like Aggressive Biomancy, Curse of Swine, Finale of Revolution, Dawn in Dreams, March from Velisvel, Summary Dismissal, Evolution, Hour of Promise, Replication Technique. So again, no real complaints when it comes to the instant sorceries. They're kind of like okay to good tier. My only complaint, and it's not really a complaint, is the Curse of Swine, but it seems to be every one of these Commander decks puts one of them in. They are quite a good card. It's one of those things where when they try and do a unique commander or a unique sub-commander, I would also like some of the cards to be the same, not the same kind of variations of cards being thrown in every single deck. Mainly because if you buy we'll say 5 of the decks, you're not going to use it out, and it's usually one of those cards you take out first. So again, a lot of people probably have this card by the bulk load. Now we are going on to artifacts. There are 7 in total, and only 3 of them mana rocks, but you get rare artifacts just like Mage Mirror, Oblivion Stone, and Seer's Sundial. Again, there's nothing super fancy in my opinion. I do think they're quite good and rare cards, and I do like them. There's not really much to say about them. They're kind of just if you went to build the deck, one of the cards that you just generically think of that's not overpriced. It's if you were building the deck and you were flicking through your rare folder and you've seen it, you'll be like, yeah, sure, that goes in. Next is enchantments. When it comes to this deck, there is 4 enchantments in total, but I'll only be mentioning 3, and they are Copyland, Desert Warfare, and Mana Reflection. Again, this is where I think the higher power kind of goes in. I do really like enchantments more than any other card type, and I do think that the enchantments in this deck are quite powerful and are perfect for this deck. Then finally, lands. Of course, when it comes to lands in this deck, it is going to be majority of the deck with a whopping total of 44 lands. But you get lands just like Blast Zone, Dark Depths, Dreamroot Cascade, Flooded Grove, Lair of the Hydra, Lanzotep Quarry, Lumbering Falls, Planar Nexus, Sunken Palace, Talon Gate of Madaria, Thespian Stage, Trench Post, Vesuva, Vine Glimmer Snarl, Yavimaya Coast, Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. Now when it comes to these decks, I usually have the biggest complaint when it comes to lands. Now I know that this is a land deck and a land focused deck. However, this is the top tier when it comes to lands. I absolutely love the lands in this deck. The fact that it has a Dark Depths and a Thespian Stage in the same deck is absolutely mind-blowing. I know that Vesuva is going to be in here, and some people think that's going to also work on Dark Depths. Just to let you know, it doesn't. But it's one of those things that it's really cool that they have quite expensive lands. Now when I say I would like, when it comes to the normal commander decks, not this level of power in every single deck, however a mid-ground between what they normally do and this deck. This should be the top tier when it comes to a landfall deck or a land deck that they make, and then they should not lower it to when it comes to a normal deck, but do a mid-ground between the two, in my personal opinion. Overall, when it comes to this, I think this deck is worth it, mainly for the lands. It is very rare that you get a really good deck that has amazing lands that you can just buy straight out of the box. The fact that a Vesuva is quite an expensive land, last of looking, it's €8, so I don't know where that is where you are, but again, that is quite a good card. You get a Dark Depths, which is a good land, Thespian Stage, good land, and a few other good lands. This will be more of a, I bought this for the rare unique ability of it has good lands and it's a commander product. There is other cards also good in this deck, so I do think this is worth it. Out of this, if you want to try a Simic deck, I recommend buying this. This is one of my favorite straight off the boxes Commander Simic decks, or Commander decks in general, and this is not a playstyle I would really play, but again, I do find it very interesting. But with that, I would like to hear your thoughts and opinions of this deck. If you have a deck similar to it, or any of your Moxfield stuff, link it down below, because again, I would love to see people's Moxfields and talk about decks and stuff. If you like this video and want to see more, I have the first one I went on here, a playlist where I talk about decks and stuff and is it worth it here, and a subscribe button here, and we are so close to 1K. I am so happy that we are getting there, and I will see you all in the next video.